Hello and welcome to today's Facecast. Today we're way back in the Old Testament in the book of Deuteronomy, one of the first few books of the Bible. And here we find the Lord your God talking to the Israelites, instructing them on what they are supposed to do and not do. Particularly, he's talking to them about the battles against the Canaanites and the other tribes around them who were at times invading them and causing them all sorts of problems. And the Lord is very strong and very strict with the Israelites, telling them, this is what you've got to do. You've got to follow this path. You've got to get rid of these people from your presence because they are doing you harm. We don't really consider that as a very Christian attitude these days. But of course, this is the time before Christ when God was dealing with his people through his word, through different prophets. Anyway, this is the passage we have from Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 22. The Lord your God will drive out those nations before you little by little. You will not be allowed to eliminate them all at once, or the wild animals will multiply around you. In context, you have to read really the whole passage, the whole section of verses and chapters here to get a flavour of it all. But what he's doing, what God is doing, is saying this is how you must deal with the problem and the situation you're in. And in this little verse, he says, he will drive out those nations before you little by little. Now, when he says that, it doesn't mean that he is going to work some big miracle and get rid of them. He can do, and sometimes he does, but most often it means he's going to use the Israelites to do the driving out. He's going to work through them because they are his people and he is their God. So he's going to drive them out, probably using the Israelites as his instrument, his tool. And then he says, little by little. So he's not going to do it all in one big go. It's going to be step by step. And that's how God's plan is sometimes, usually quite often. He does things step by step, stage by stage. And we have to recognize and follow those steps and keep in step with him. Little by little, you will not be allowed to eliminate them all at once. Now, it might have been easier really to eliminate them all at once, but the problem is there was quite a few of these folks around, and killing them all off at once would have caused a problem, wouldn't it? It would have caused lots of dead bodies everywhere, all around them. And what does he say in the next little bit of the verse? You will not be allowed to eliminate all at once, or the wild animals will multiply around you. You see, so they would have created a problem for themselves, wouldn't they? If they had eliminated all the Canaanites all in one go, then they would have had a problem with wild animals feasting on these dead bodies. And then they would have had a wild animal explosion, a population explosion that they have had to deal with. So God is very particular to them about what they've got to do. They've got to follow certain steps, follow his path. They've got to get themselves clean. That's a very important part of what this is about. Get yourselves clean so that you can be my people and that you can respond to me. All the time that you are dirty, all the time that you are wrapped up in the things you shouldn't be, and in this case it was the religious practices of other pagan nations around them, all the time you're doing that, it makes it very difficult for you to follow my way. Get yourself clean. We'll do this bit by bit, and I'll show you how. I'll help you. Won't do it all at once, otherwise everything will go to pot again, and you'll never be able to get yourself back on the right footing. Trust me, he's saying to them, and we'll work on this together. That rings lots of bells for us, doesn't it, when we've got to get ourselves clean. That is, get our lives in order, shape up and be the people he requires us to be. Take care. See you soon.